Hello, everybody. My name is Sydney Bass-Lester. I am a personal stylist and biz coach. Hey, S Dizzy Mom. I'm just calling you by your Instagram handle because that's what I can see right now. But I'm going to answer your question. Your question is first. So I am doing a rapid fire question series for today's live. So I posted about this a couple days ago on Instagram and was not able to get back to it, but I got a lot of questions that run the gamut from styling questions to thrifting to best pastries, which honestly might be my best question, my most favorite question, to business tips and business resources. So this is going to be for you if you are just into style, or you are a personal stylist and you're looking for business tips, or honestly, you just want to know my favorite pastry. So let's dive in. And as you're watching and you have more questions, feel free to also contribute and tune in there. So the first question comes from at S Dizzy Mom, who is on Instagram and she's on live now. And her question was, if one of your clients has lost some weight, how do you decide if the item should be altered by a tailor versus purchasing new? So this is a fantastic question. So I consider a few things. One, I consider how much weight has been lost and how drastically the garment would need to be altered in order to make it worth it or not. So if it's just simple things like taking up the waistband or adding darts to something, or maybe taking like the sleeves or like a hem length up or something like that to adjust, then those are easy, pretty simple, pretty cost effective and affordable alterations that can be done. And so if someone really loves the piece, then I would definitely consider doing that. So for example, I actually had a client I was working with yesterday and she had a skirt that she liked. It's okay. I don't know that I necessarily love it for her, but one of the things she wants to do is maximize what she already has without making a lot of new purchases. So that's something that went into our possible to be tailored section, because really it just kind of needs to be the waist taken in and probably slimmed a little bit on the side to fit her a little bit better. So we're going to make those alterations. And for $20, for some people, that is worth it to make an alteration on an existing garment than going and buying new and contributing to that cycle of just buying new things when maybe what you already have works. So there's a few things that are in play here when you're considering tailoring a garment if you've lost weight or it's too big for you. So the second thing I consider is how much my clients love the garment and how much they want to work with it. So if you truly love a garment and maybe it's classic and it's timeless, or it's can be worn in a different way than maybe you would think about, then it could totally be worth tailoring. And that's kind of an individual decision that you do have to make. And then so finally, 3, I also consider the client's style and kind of where they're headed and the style of the piece. So with the example of my client and the skirt that she had, like I said, I didn't necessarily love it on her, but it's kind of a classic shape. And with a few different I didn't love the pattern, let me say that. With a few different alterations on it, it could become a skirt that is going to fit better. It's going to have the right length. And therefore, when she styles it with the right things, it could become a good, easy piece for her. So there are a few different things that you want to consider when you have a piece that you are trying to decide if you want to alter or not. If it's a complete, I hope that you guys can still hear this air conditioning that just popped on. So this is a real live podcast recording. There's just things you want to consider when altering. If it's going to be a complete reconstruction of the garment, unless literally it's your favorite piece in the world, then I wouldn't do it. But there are times and spaces for you to make those adjustments. So next question comes from at Ray Pre on Instagram, and she asked for any suggestions for cute and comfortable summer shoe brands? Now that I'm living car-free, I've learned that cheap flip-flops are cute, but painful heels aren't getting me very far. So this is a really awesome, good, practical question. Because I myself am actually making kind of a shift from wearing heels, even kind of chunky, 2.5-inch block heels, to honestly just flat shoes, because a girl has got to walk around and she's got to be able to do stuff. And honestly, you can't hustle as much in heels from what I found. And let's be real, 34, my legs are just tired. So I want to give you 3 things to consider for this. So there'll be some brands sprinkled in here, but I want you to consider first of all, let's nix the flip-flop situation, okay? Flip-flops should be reserved for the beach in the pool, maybe if you need them for like gym showering situations, but not in real life scenarios walking around doing business. My personal opinion. Right, and so when I say flip-flops, I'm thinking like the Old Navy plastic flip-flops. I'm thinking like the rainbow leather flip-flops. Those are beach flip-flops. You can definitely do a cute summer sandal that maybe doesn't have a back, but it's gonna have some more details to it. It's not gonna be just like a flip-flop. So consider for flat summer shoes, one, a pointed toe flat. Now this isn't necessarily a traditional summer shoe if it's in clothes and maybe it's leather, but that is going to be a flat that's going to carry you through all of the seasons, and so it's a good investment. And so for that, I really like naturalizers. They have the Samantha style. It is either a regular pointed toe flat. They also sometimes come in the Diorce, which is when it has that little cutout on the inside of your foot. That is just a really classic, great example of a good pointed toe flat that is going to be, one, really comfortable because it's naturalizer brand, but it also is really stylish and cute. So take a look around that website and kind of see what you can see there. They also have really cute sandal options too. So the second type of shoe I want you to consider is a really cute flat sneaker, particularly in white for the summer. So I recently myself went on a sneaker purchase experiment, and I ordered 3 different types of brands that I wanted to try. So I ordered the Supergas from Nordstrom, which I love and I recommend to all my clients. I ordered Veja, which is a sustainable, ethical fashion brand. And then I also ordered Nike Blazers, and I ordered all of them in white to try them on. Oh, excuse me, sorry. My Instagram froze. My live video paused. Is it gonna unpause? Can I go back? Crap. Let me see. Oh, Instagram, seriously? I can't with you sometimes. Come back to me. I was so on a roll. There we go. I think I'm back. Am I back? I'm gonna end. Am I back? If you are watching, can you tell me if you can see me on Instagram? Send me a comment, because on my Instagram screen, it says that I'm live, but then it also says live video paused. So I don't know what's happening. So if you are watching, it says there's one person watching. Can you tell me if you can see me on Instagram, please? I was so on a roll. I have no idea if this is working. All right, I'm gonna end Instagram. Lord have mercy. Thank you for staying tuned on the podcast side of things. We are gonna try this again. Okay, I am back. So I have the automatic timer on where if I've spent more than an hour on social media, it pops up on Instagram to say your time is up, and that's what happened. And then it interrupts your live and it doesn't let you come back on. So we are here again. Hopefully we won't get interrupted. I will talk faster. So where was I? We were talking about flat sneakers. I have definitely become a flat sneaker fan. And I ended up purchasing the Nike Blazers because they were leather. So to me, that was less of a casual shoe. So the Supergas were canvas. And to me, that was really more casual, and I wanted something a little more polished. So if you're looking for a sneaker, I would recommend doing something that is leather and kind of one color, so that you're going to still present a streamlined professional look. And I actually ended up wearing those sneakers to a kind of swanky business lunch at a really fancy hotel this past week, and I felt super polished and super comfortable in them. And then finally, look for some sort of like a flat form, platform, or kind of summer sandal, maybe one that has like a 1/2 inch or an inch max heel. I do honestly love a heel for kind of elevating your look, giving you a little bit of that height and coming across a little more professional than a super flat shoe. I recently found a brand called Off the Beaten Path, which has some kind of fun, funky sandals. I wouldn't necessarily say that they are super professional. They're definitely more summer fun. And they're kind of big, chunky platforms, but they are really comfortable. So it's a comfortable brand of shoe that you could wear. So look for those. There's definitely a ton of fun, different ranges that you can do. So my go-tos, I always look on Nordstrom. I do Naturalizer. I will stop at Clark's. Vionic is another one that you can look at for comfy but cute shoes. And a lot of times what you really just want to look for are your particular feet's issues, right? So I know that I usually have to size up because I have kind of a wider toe box and my toes can't hit the edge of a shoe because it's uncomfortable to me. So, and I also really like ones where I can put arch supports, which you can't do as much in sandals. You can look for some that kind of have those things built in. So a great place to start is just to Google cute, comfy summer shoes and see what pops up and read the reviews and go from there to do that. And honestly, it may take you purchasing and buying anywhere from 3 to 7 or maybe more pairs of shoes to really trying them on. Or just going into a store and getting a feel for them, because that's kind of part of your whole style journey as well, is really getting in there and experimenting for yourself with your clothes and kind of almost normalizing the shopping process as being fun and thinking of it as a big experiment. So that's my biggest tip for helping you find those things. So next question, Julie at For Womankind Project asked me what the best pastries are. And this is my fave topic of all time, and I love Julie for asking me this question. So let me give you the rundown. If you are looking, my favorite type of pastry, I am like a sweet/savory girl, and I hate chocolate pastries, and I don't like super sweet pastries. So I really like them to be kind of bready. So my favorite pastry is the Queen Amman. This is spelled way differently than it's pronounced, and if you see the name, you don't know what it is, you are going to be like, I don't know what this pastry is. It's literally the best pastry in the entire world, and I Googled it, and it basically stands for butter and cake. So if you can understand now why it's so good, it's because it's basically all butter and flour and like some caramelized sugar situation. So you can get these in Richmond at Red Cap Pastry on Meadow Street, and you can get them at Whisk on Main Street. Those are the only places I found them. And I'm going to be honest, my favorite is at Red Cap. So if you are in Richmond, get the Queen Amman from there. I also love the French bun. Basically, it's a cinnamon roll, but with croissant bread. So it's not as sweet, and you really get that. I just love butter and bread, if you guys can't tell. But you get that buttery taste. That you can get at Whisk. They do put icing on it, so it is a little bit sweeter than normal. And then finally, I like a good cinnamon sugar donut and a cake donut, mind you. And I love them from Sugar Shack. That is the only place I get them. And they're actually vegan, I believe. So I love that because I also try to not eat a ton of butter and dairy, which is what's in my 2 other favorite pastries. So Julie, amazing question. Thank you so much. If I am ever out and about looking for a pastry, those are, I look for the Queen Amman, and then I look for some sort of like croissant savory situation. So next question comes from ELISA. ELISA is a personal stylist, and she is in my Founders Club membership. Her question was, do you use Google Calendar or a planner notebook? And my answer is that I use all of the above. So I primarily function from a concept called the model calendar, which I teach as one of the very first trainings in the Founders Club to help you set up your business structure for success so that you have time to actually work on the business versus always in the business. So for example, on Mondays, those are days that I block off in a big chunk to say these are my CEO admin days. Tuesdays is my Founders Club days. And so then within those chunks of times, I will have smaller chunks of actually the smaller tasks that I have to do on any given day. And so the way that I figure out what I have to do on any given day, my smaller tasks, is I use Evernote. And so I set up a weekly template that is like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I have my CEO day categories in there, and then I can kind of chunk it down in there to say what are the individual tasks that relate to a particular project that I'm doing. So for example, what's a big project? I'm actually getting ready to redo my website. And so one of the things that I'm getting ready to redo my website. So one of the things I'm going to have to do is chunk that down into smaller things. So I'm going to be putting that into my Evernote so I can check it off. And then in order for me to schedule time to get it done, I transfer that over into my Google Calendar. And a really awesome resource for this is Brooke Castillo. She has a podcast called the Life Coach School Podcast, which is one of my favorites. It's amazing. But she did an episode on April 27th, 2019 called Throw Your To-Do List Away. And it basically is just this idea of brain dumping all of your to-dos and then scheduling them in your calendar, and then non-negotiable, you do them when the calendar alert or whatever pops up to actually get it done. Because how often do we write to-do lists, but then we don't ever actually do them? We just kind of push it around on the to-do list. That said, I do love a good notebook, and I love writing things down because a lot of times I just like checking things off, right? Makes my heart happy to like cross things off, and I can cross things off in Evernote, but a lot of times if I'm extra like maybe frazzled or stressed, or I have a lot going on, I will look at my calendar, I'll look at my Evernote, and then I will break it down and just kind of rewrite a list that's handwritten so that I can cross it off, or so that I can really focus. A sub situation in how I stay organized is that oftentimes I will focus on what I call 5% activities. So these are activities that are directly income producing, or hi Christina, or project producing activities. So basically what that means, if I need to pick 3 things that are actually going to move my business forward, or 3 things that are going to help me make money, then I will focus on those 3 things above anything else that I have to do in my business to get done that day. So, and then from there, I do move things around a little bit also in my to-do list, but very much try to stick on that calendar of just getting things done. Okay, got 2 more questions for you guys. Next question comes from Style by Candice, who is another personal stylist, and she wanted to know about client flow. So I'm gonna give you my answer to what I believe she's asking me. So I love a good checklist, and I love all of the systems, and I teach a lot about systems in the Founders Club and the Biz Bootcamp. Christina, what do you mean, what % of time? Just like type what? Okay, this is a joke question. Christina wants to know, what % of time do I spend on Rupert-focused activities? Rupert is my little baby kitten. He's not a kid. He's like 3 years old, but he's basically like a baby. I spend 95% of my time focused on Rupert activities, because 95% of the time he's sitting in my lap while I'm trying to work. So back to my question about client flow. So Style by Candice, she's a personal stylist. She had a question for me about client flow. So I actually use HubSpot to track all of my client leads and where they are in my process of them becoming a client with me. So HubSpot is actually a free program, which is really, well, they have paid options, of course, but they have a really amazing, they call it a pipeline, so that you can customize. So my process is that a client will reach out to me. I will send them a style questionnaire. They will book a call with me. We will have the call. I will send them a proposal, and then they will either book and pay, or it's not the right time for them. And so in HubSpot, I can track where they are in that process, so I don't have to remember, and I know exactly what I need to do along each step of the way to follow up with them and to get them into my business as a client. From there, once they become a client, I have a checklist that I have created that documents every single step of the service flow that the client's going to go through and that I'm going to go through. So for example, in the first step in my client process, it would be the client is doing a closet cleanse. So we go to the session, check. After the session, I donate the clothes to charity, and I take them to consignment, and I give the client the tax receipt. And then I have another checklist that is make the style plan. Then I send it to them. Then I schedule the next follow-up appointment. So everything is documented in a checklist based on my process that I've developed. So if you are members of the Founders Club, you get access to the Biz Bootcamp, and there are, I think, 3 modules on creating your services. And so I share that checklist and all sorts of other checklists for you in there. But I do believe client flow is very important, and that you have a documented steps and process so that it is easily replicatable. And then if you happen to bring on other stylists, or you bring on a virtual assistant or an assistant to help you in your business, they're going to have a checklist to follow, and you don't have to kind of think about what that is. And it also saves you brain space by having a checklist, having a flow, having a system and a pipeline. You don't have to manually in your brain think about, okay, they just finished this. What is next? What do I need to do? Because you simply go down the checklist. So it makes your life a lot easier. Okay, last question. This is from my girl, Angeli. She is at DreamersDream8 on Instagram. And one of her questions was, what are some ideas on how to resell my clothes that consignment stores aren't taking? And I feel they still have some value. It would make me feel a lot better knowing someone else is getting some good use out of them rather than just sitting in the Goodwill store. So Girl, I feel you. I love reselling my clothes, but I also have definitely felt the pain of someone looking at my stuff and saying, this isn't cute enough, when I think it's cute and it still has great life in it, and I still think someone would love it and wear it. And I have definitely resorted to keeping bags in my cars for months and taking them back and hoping I get a different person to look through it who might get it that time, and then taking them around to different stores. So, you know, at the end of the day, that is a lot of time and effort and energy on trying to maybe get a couple dollars back for pieces. And there's no also guarantee that if a resale store takes your stuff, that someone is actually going to buy it. A lot of things in retail stores, if they don't sell, they actually end up eventually getting donated anyway. So you don't necessarily have a say over that part of the process. So my suggestions would be to, one, consider having a clothing swap. This could be like a pretty big ordeal. I won't say ordeal, but this could be a pretty big event that you kind of host and do, or it could be just something super small with a handful of friends. Maybe you have like 4 friends and you guys all bring like your clothes and you just do a swap. That way your friends directly could benefit from it. You might get some things out of it as well. And it could just be a fun time to kind of hang out and then actually see those clothes being enjoyed by somebody else. I tend to do that with my sisters a lot. Whenever we have clothes that we're getting rid of, the other ones of us are always like, oh, let me like dig through that bag and see if there's anything that I want before we donate it. And it's just really fun. And then you could also just give them to your friends, right? So I actually had a friend of mine that cleaned out her closet. She's like, I have a huge trash bag if you want to look through the stuff. And so I did. I looked through it. I actually pulled out a really nice like Cold Mountain Hardware, whatever it's called, fleece jacket that I kept. Nothing else really fit me or was my style, but then I actually took that entire bag and I gave it to my sister. And then so she went through it, got a few things out of it, and then took the bag and gave it to another friend. So that's not necessarily, it's kind of a clothes swap, but it's not really a clothes swap because you're just kind of passing it along. But it is a nice way for you to just get that physical bag and clothes out of your belongings, out of your house, out of your car, because I'm sure those bags have been sitting in your car for a while, and then give it to somebody else who can pick and choose what they want, and then they can pass it on. And so then you actually kind of have a bigger impact that way. And then finally, my last little tip on this is just to donate them and be done with it. Because like I said, sometimes your time of hauling things to different stores and trying to get the most money or trying to make sure the best things are happening, it's just too much of your time, and it is easier to just donate it and know that someone at some point will love it and be done with it. So those are my rapid fire 6 questions that range from styling questions to business questions to my favorite types of pastries, which is a legit question that I'm very glad was asked. So if you are tuning in late and you're just now seeing this, the Instagram live version got a little messed up, and so it's in 2 parts. But if you can visit the link in my bio, there's a section that says Get Free Biz Tips. That links you to my blog and my YouTube channel. And this video will all be in one connected piece over on there. Sometimes this Instagram is just glitchy. So Dizzy Mom, you welcome. Thank you for asking me such awesome questions that I got to answer. I will do these every week. Usually they're focused on business tips, but I just love doing rapid fire ones too, and especially answering style questions are really fun. And I will be back next week. So if there's ever a question that you want answered, and again, it can literally be an ask me anything situation, then send me a DM. Let me know. If you are a personal stylist and you're catching the tail end of this, then know that the Founders Club membership is opening for 48 hours only, Monday and Tuesday, like tomorrow and then the day after, if you want to get in. So the Founders Club, there's info in the link in my bio, in my stories, but it's the only monthly business development program for personal stylists who are looking to grow and expand and really create successful businesses that they love and that they love doing, and that they can be full-time or part-time or whatever the desire is, and surround yourself with a community of really supportive, amazing personal stylists who are totally raising the bar on what it means to be a professional stylist. It's just a very awesome community. And it's from stylists from all over the world, all over the United States, all over the world. We have stylists from South Africa and England in the group as well. So I hope to see you there if you are ready to join. And I will see you here next week on Instagram Live. Bye, guys.